Hi, welcome to 90% Knitting. This is episode 133, and I'm Lisa, your host, also known as Fiber Nymph on Ravelry, Plurk, and Instagram. It is Saturday, August 30th, and this is take 3 of this podcast today. I'm sorry, playing with my face already. I recorded first thing this morning. I thought, yay, I've got it out of the way. It's done, can process. As I was processing it, I realized my computer was being weird and glitchy, and like there was points where it just looked like it skipped video, like it lost pieces. I don't know. I've never had that happen before. So I just tried to record again. Like literally, I just did this, and the sound was not there. So I'm trying one more time. And if it doesn't happen this time, guess what? It's not going to happen because I have a lot to do before I leave for North Carolina on Monday. So fingers crossed, third time's a charm. Okay, let's just get started. Knitting. I'm going to first tell you what I have not worked on. I have not worked on the Velma Vanilla Bean socks, and I have not worked on the one row lace shawl. Those two patterns I didn't work on because they're pretty simple, and since I'm going to have car knitting time coming up this week, I wanted to have easy things to take with me, so I thought I'll just take those. They're small, compact, easy knitting for the car and for while I'm away, so cool. So they have not gotten any love this week, but other things have, so let me show you those. I started the Shundai, I think it's Shundai. People on the episode thread last time explained to me it's a French word for sweater, actually, which I always thought the French word for sweater was pullover, which I believe that is another one, but that's for an actual pullover sweater, apparently. This is a cardigan, so Shundai. And this is a picture of Shundai. It's by Triona Murphy. It's a nice cardigan with cables, which you're not really able to see because this does not want to focus for me. There we go. Cables up both front panels and down the sleeves. So, I don't remember if I had swatched already by the time I recorded last time or not. I know I talked about it, but I did swatch. I swatched, I washed the swatch, I let it dry. I did everything you're supposed to do with the swatch. And I actually did get gauge. My row gauge is a little bit off. But I never worry a whole lot about row gauge just because it's easy to fudge if you need to. My stitch gauge was spot on, using US 7 needles and my Fiber Nymph Dye Works Cozy Base worsted. And I'm doing the Sunken Treasure Gold color. I'm working off of 2 balls. I alternate every 2 rows, which is what I always do when I'm doing anything with like a variegated yarn or a semi-solid, just because sometimes you get some variation in dyeing colors. Now, granted I dyed all 8 of my skeins at the same time, so there shouldn't be a whole lot of variation, but just in case there is, this will help mitigate that. So I cast on, and it's going really well. I like it. So it's a bottom-up sweater, raglan sleeves, and I'm really happy with how it's turned out so far. I've got the ribbing done at the bottom, and I did one of the horseshoe cable repeats. So that's this section right here. Can't really see a whole lot since it's only one of them, but it's moving along nicely. As for sizing, I was talking about this last week whenever I was trying to decide which size to make of the pattern. It's sized for either a 44 or 48 inch bust. I'm 46 inches, so I fall right in the middle there. And a couple people had commented on the episode thread last time that Amy Herzog recommends using your upper bust measurement, so like underneath your arm, right underneath your armpits, and across here, and using that, and then if you need extra space for the girls, working short rows. I like that idea. The only thing that I'm hesitant about doing that with on this is because there's cables, and I don't really want to work with doing that and having cables there. I'm just not sure how well that would work out. My other thought was if I go with the larger size, the 48, since it's bottom up, that will give me extra width in the bottom part of the sweater, you know, the body part, which I'm actually okay with because there is waist shaping. So I'll have waist decreases and increases. That's incorporated into the pattern. But honestly, my body shape, you know how you have apples and pears, and I think there's a couple of others. I'm very much an apple. I have, like, if you look at me from the front, you know, I've got a normal shape you associate with a girl for the most part. Like, you get to my waist and hips, and then it goes straight down. But I definitely have the bust and the little in, and then out and straight down. But if you look at me, like, profile-wise, I have boobs and then I have tummy. Like, I carry my weight through the middle. I always have. And it's kind of a pain because it does make fitting things difficult because most clothing manufacturers want you to have a nice flat tummy, you know. And when you don't, then everything ends up clinging to you. Enter knitting. You can modify things. But anyway, I think if I knit the larger size, that'll give me the extra roominess that I like to have in the body part. It will also definitely accommodate the bust. If I need to, I can probably bring that in a little bit, or I'm thinking I probably just won't make the button band quite as wide as it is in the pattern. I can always make that a little bit smaller. And again, with the not focusing, I don't know, you can see the button band there. It's pretty wide. I want to say it's probably at least a 2-inch button band. So I can always make that smaller if I need it to be a little bit closer. The other thing I could do is I can switch my needle sizes. I can go down to a 6, probably without compromising the integrity of the fabric too much. I don't think it'll make it like bulletproof or anything. It'll make it snugger, but it'll bring it in a little bit if I need it to. And I may need that by the time I get to like mid-bust on up. And then once I get past the bust part, I'm going to make sure I'm decreasing enough that I'm knitting the 44-inch size. Because the shoulders are always where my sweaters end up being too big and they hang off the edge. I'm broad, but I guess I'm just not that broad that it meets up with how big my bust is. I got boobs, what can I say? Anyway, and that's the other thing is, since this has kind of a scoopy neckline, I really do not want to end up with it being too big and having the scoop part like really almost hanging off my shoulders, because that's not flattering, at least not on me. Some people can probably pull it off, but I can't. So those are my thoughts on that. I'm just going to modify as I go along, as needed, and I hope it will be fine. Hopefully the swatching gods will smile upon me and they'll say, you know what? She swatched. She did what she was supposed to, so let's make her sweater fit well. Yes, let's go with that. So that is one project I worked on. I will probably not take that with me, though I may take yarn enough to work on the sleeves, because it's a raglan construction, so you're knitting from the bottom up. You stop here at the underarm, you knit both sleeves, and then you add those to the needle, so you're knitting the whole thing in the round. It's a great construction because when you're done, the only seaming you have then is that little underarm bit, so that's nice. But I could probably work on the sleeves while I'm away if I want to. But again, it's, you know, the cabling, and I don't know. I don't know if I want to deal with that while I'm away. We'll see. The other project that I've been working on is something that has been in hibernation for over a year. So you may not have seen it before if you haven't been watching very long. But it's the Industrial Revolution Shawl by Hannah Breitz. Now, this pattern was originally written for fingering weight yarn, Sanguine Griffin Sappho 2 to be precise. I decided to do this as a stash busting project back when I started it, and I was going to use Blue Sky Alpaca, which is a sport weight. I had some in the gold color, I had some in this orange color, and the Sappho yarn comes in 440 yard skeins. So I thought, oh, I've got plenty of yarn to do this. So I started knitting it. I got through the first segment. I got through the second segment. And as I started the third, I read the instructions a little closer, and it actually had called for 2 skeins of Sappho, which would be 880 yards. And I knew I did not have 880 yards of this alpaca. And I was not going to have enough to finish the shawl. And it was very frustrating because it was going so well. I do not have a good track record with circular shawls. You may remember this. I tried doing Jared Flood's hemlock ring blanket and failed miserably. It did not look like a hemlock ring with the feather and fan. It looked more like an amoeba. I tried doing Even Star and messed that up fairly early on. Of course, I was also doing that in lace weight, and anyway. flashbacks. So yeah, circular shawls and I have not had a lot of good karma with one another. This was going really well though, and I was happy with it, and then I figured out I didn't have enough yarn, and I was distraught and not happy. So let's see, where am I? Which side am I on? Okay, here's the right side. So this was the center section, and then I got through the next section, and I'm alternating colors with each section. There's 5 sections, so I'm hoping it's going to work out. And the reason I picked it back up was because back in September, I'm really jumping around in the story. This is the 3rd time I've told it to you. You just only hearing it this one time. Is I was going through stash and everything last fall, and I came across another few skeins of this yarn in these 2 colors. So I feel like I'm set. I've got a little over 1,000 yards to work with, so I'm really hoping it'll work out so that I can do orange, gold. This 3rd section's orange. 4th section will hopefully be gold, and then I hope I will have enough orange left to do the applied edging. I may not do the full 7 repeats of this section. I may only do 5 in order to hopefully save and have enough to do the applied edging at the end in the orange. I'm gonna weigh as I go through the next segment to see how much it uses, just so that I know. I apologize. My neighbor's running the lawnmower out there. You can probably hear it. Anyway, yeah, but it's going really well. This 3rd section is actually a bobble section. Oh my goodness. If you know me, you know I'm not really the fan of the bobbles. It's the bobbled spoke section. So you've got these, let's see, these 2 rows of eyelets, and then there's a bobble column in the middle. And you can see one of them. Well, maybe you can't really see it very well. There it is. There's my bobble. Hold it there. Bobbles just seem like the warts of the knitting community. I don't know. Something about having bumps on your knitting. Try to avoid bumps. I like your knitting to be nice and smooth. And you're purposely making bumps. I don't mind knitting them, like doing the, you know, knitting 5 stitches into one and then having to go back and knit 3 together and then I don't mind doing that process. Matter of fact, the signatures make it really easy. I'm using my signature, my 32-inch signature, I don't remember what size these are. 6, US 6. Stiletto points, so they're nice and pointy. Great for doing that kind of knitting multiple stitches together. I do not like signatures. I still don't like them. I love the needle part. The cable, I don't like. It's way too flimsy. I like my cables to have a little bit of memory, and this has like 0. So, but it's good for this project. I'm not going to complain too much. Anyway, so I'm back on the track with this. I've got one of those segments done, and hopefully it will continue to go well. Again, I probably will not take this with me just because it's, you know, it's got all the different stuff going on, and it's a little bulky too at this point, so it probably will not go with me, but I'm having fun knitting it because I really like this yarn. I don't knit with alpaca very often because it's a very warm yarn. It's fuzzy. It's got that halo from the alpaca, but it's so soft, and it is really very pleasant to knit with, so I'm enjoying it. What else? I haven't started this yet, but this is something I am going to take with me, I think, on my trip. And this will be my September knit-along, the head-to-toe knit-along. This will be my project for that. It's the Elm Leaves Lace Wristlets. It's an Ann Hansen pattern from Knit Spot. When I recorded take 2, I realized, because I was looking at the pattern, that it's actually worked from the lace on down to the cuff. I thought it was cuff and then you did the lace last. So in that respect, it may not be very good travel knitting. I don't know. I'm going to think about it. However, the pattern was written for lace weight yarn. I am not doing it in lace weight. I'm doing it in fingering weight. Other people have done it in fingering, and I think it'll be fine. I'm making these for Emma, so I let her choose the yarn. I gave her a couple of choices, and this is the one she picked. This is the I've Been Impaled colorway from Spartacus Dyes, and I cannot remember the name of her base, and I do not have the tag sitting right here. I apologize. But but it's a fun colorway, and this is only going to use up probably about 140 yards of yarn, so I'm going to have plenty of this yarn left to be able to make a pair of socks at some other point in time. So I'm excited about that. But I think these will be fun. I wanted to do something a little bit different for the September knit along rather than just a pair of regular mitts. So that's what I'm going to do. Speaking of the knit along, you have one more day. Tomorrow is your last day to finish up anything for the August knit along, which is neck and upper back. So you have through tomorrow your time, midnight, 11:59 p.m. your time, to finish your knitting on it. I will leave the thread open, the finished object thread, open through Monday, the 1st, in order for you to post pictures, but the actual knitting has to be done by tomorrow. Then I'll close the thread and I'll do a drawing for winner or winners, depending on how many people contribute. I think there's probably enough people who have posted things now. I'll do 2 winners. Yeah, I'll do that the next time I record after I come back from my trip. But September 1st also begins the arms and hands knit along. That's what September is. So, and that, again, it includes small shrugs. I have no idea why I included that in September instead of this month, but I did, so there you go. Again, it has to be started and finished within the month of the knit along. I'm still kind of writing to a couple people here and there who have posted things that were started prior to August 1st, and I have to take your pictures down because they're not eligible. But just that reminder, this for August, it has to have been started on or after August 1st and finished on or before August 31st. September, same thing, on or after September 1st for a start and on or before September 30th to finish it, for it to qualify for the monthly drawings, the knit-alongs. The only exception to that is if you're doing the full body object, which that can encompass the entire 4 months of the knit-along. So July 1st through October 31st, anytime in there to start and finish. So just wanted to remind you about that. But please post your pictures. I like to see them. Anything else? No, I think that's everything for 90%. 10%, let's see. I canned tomatoes this week. That was very exciting. I got enough tomatoes to do 1 batch. I did 6 quarts. I love canning tomatoes. I love the process of like blanching them to get the skins off. And I just do diced tomatoes. Usually they're diced or crushed. And they're just super easy. You don't have to pressure cook them. They just get a hot water bath. And it's just fun. I love canning tomatoes. And then I love having them in the winter to use. I'm hoping to at least get 1 more batch canned, probably while I'm away. There will be a lot of tomatoes to pick, and when I come back, hopefully they won't have rotted sitting waiting for me, so we'll see how that goes. But the garden's still doing okay. I can tell things are starting to slow down, like the hot peppers aren't growing quite as quickly. The spaghetti squash plants have developed that white mold that squash plants sometimes get, but the squash themselves are pretty much fully grown. I'm just waiting for them to harden, and I think they'll be fine. The flowers are doing fabulously. My zinnias and cosmos are so pretty. The sunflowers are just in full bloom. I've actually got a really cool picture of the flowers I'll post at the end of the podcast that I took the other night around sunset, like the sun was setting, so it's backlit. Really pretty. So anyway, other than that, just getting ready to take Emma to school on Monday. We're both, tensions are running a little high still. We're getting a little anxious. There's a lot that's going to go on while we're down there. Driving down Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday are 2 full days of orientation, and we both have orientation. So yeah, it'll be interesting. Thursday's her doctor appointment down there, her GI appointment, and then I'll be leaving her and I'll be driving over to Jacksonville to visit my oldest, who's over there still. He's out of the Marines, but he's still living in that area, so I'm going to be spending Thursday night at his place, and then I'll drive home Friday is the plan. So it should be a nice trip. I'm looking forward to being home. Just a lot of things going on in life right now. Her leaving, some other, just personal things that I'm juggling and adjusting to. A lot of adjustments, really big life adjustments in a very short period of time. And I'm okay with that. I will not lie. I've had some sort of anxiety attack moments recently, just getting overwhelmed with things. but it settles and I'm fine. I'm very, very thankful for my friends. I have wonderful friends who are there for me, and I don't know what I would do without them. So anyway, that's pretty much everything for the knitting part of the show. Shop news wise, I will say that if you put your name in for the 6 Stripe Sock Club, I did send out messages to everyone last Friday and Saturday. So if you got into the club, you were notified of that. I think the majority of people have already paid for their first shipment already. So thank you for doing that so promptly. If you haven't, you still have some time. If you did not get in, I also sent you a message letting you know, or if you're on the waiting list, I pulled like 5 extra names just in case people who got in decided to change their mind. So far, nobody has. But anyway, if you did put your name in and you did not receive a message from me and you've checked your spam filter in your email, PM me on Ravelry or email me or something, and I will let you know what your status is. The shop is going to remain open while I am away. Sometimes I would close it, but you know what? There's a lot of stuff in the shop right now, and since it's going to be over a holiday, sort of, and people will have extra time, I didn't want to close the shop when that might be the one time you've had lately to get to the shop and look and see what's in there. So just be aware that if you do place an order between September 1st and September 5th, shipping will be delayed a little bit. Usually I ship out within 3 days, 3 business days of an order being placed. This time it will probably run a little bit longer than that. So it'll ship hopefully Saturday, the 6th, because I'll be getting home the day before, so hopefully I'll be able to process shipping first thing Saturday morning, but at the very latest it'll be Monday, September 8th. So just be aware of that. You won't get your things quite as quickly as usual, but it shouldn't be too much longer. There will be a shop update that week, that Friday, September 12th. I have not determined a time yet, so stay tuned for that. I'll post that at the top of the shop page and on the Fiber Nymph Dye Works group on Facebook and in the Ravelry group as well. So I already have everything dyed up for that, and I'm very excited because there are some new colorways that I'm super excited about, and I hope you'll like them. It'll probably be a medium-ish size update. It's not going to be super small, but there's not as much as there was this last time either. But I will show you all that when after I'm back from my trip and when I record the next time earlier that week. So stay tuned for those things. Alrighty, that is everything. I'm going to go. I have a whole bunch of things to do today and tomorrow. I have not started packing yet for this trip. I really need to pack. So I probably need to do some laundry too. That's what I'm going to do next. And get some dyeing done. And. No shortage of things to do today. So anyway, have a great weekend. And if you're in the U.S., please have a safe holiday weekend. Enjoy the last of what's left of summer this weekend. And I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.